What's up, creatrixes and creators? I'm Wicked. I'm giving power back to the people, and you can't stop me. Over here on my channel, we are all about empowerment through the expansion of consciousness, and today I want to talk to you about why vision boards work. But before we dive in, go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so that I can keep helping you keep your third eye in the sky. Oprah, Beyonce, Will Smith, Jim Carrey, what do all of these people have in common aside from fame and success? They all preach the powerful effectiveness of vision boards. These are just 4 examples of thousands, maybe even millions of people who put their faith into this success tool. Vision boards are so on trend that TD Bank ran a survey with over 1,100 people, 500 of which were small business owners, and they found that 67% of them actually attributed their success to vision boards. So what exactly is a vision board? Well, it's a collage of images and sayings that pertain to your goal. Let's say you're interested in buying a house at some point in your life. If you wanted to bring it to the front of your goal list and do everything in your power to make it happen as quickly as possible, you might consider creating a vision board. The board would include interior and exterior photos of house attributes that you love, paint samples, and maybe even a picture of a dog if you plan on getting a pet once you move. You might add inspiring words, a graph to document your financial progress, and a map of the neighborhood you'd wish to live in. Once your vision board is complete, you'll place it somewhere where you see it every day, multiple times a day. Having a vision board allows us to continually visualize the life that we're trying to achieve, and that sounds pretty cool, right? But why does it matter? And more importantly, how can it actually help you achieve your goals? Our brains combine prior knowledge with uncertain evidence through a process called Bayesian integration. This means that when we are presented with the unfamiliar, our brains begin looking at familiar facets of the situation to compare to prior experiences so that it can tell us how to respond. For our ancestors, this looked like running away from a rustling bush because last time it was a bear making all of the racket and it almost killed Bob. Now, as you can imagine, this process has a huge effect on our thoughts, perception, and of course, actions. A vision board or a similar tool helps us to prime and condition our brains to our new reality. Remember, achieving the goal is never actually about achieving the goal. It's about becoming the person who has already achieved the goal. When we want something, especially when it's something really big that has the potential to change our entire lives, we often have to make changes to get it. Perhaps we need to get up earlier so we have more time to work on our passion projects, or we need to start saving and investing instead of just spending. Whatever the action, it's going to change the way that we perceive ourselves. You might become a morning person or someone who is financially savvy, and all of these things change the way that our ego views us. Changing our ego, our sense of self, the way we view the concept of who we are is a really uncomfortable process. It's also the reason that people often experience failure when they're starting out on a new venture. In order to avoid this pitfall, you need to train the ego into telling the self that you already are the person that you're trying to become. This is where the concept of act as if comes in, and the easiest way to do this is to create a new feedback loop in the brain. A feedback loop is your ego's interpretation of your reality dictated by the 5 senses. Feedback, in this case, is the story that you get from your ego about your reality. And the loop comes in when those 5 senses trigger you back into a previous experience, or Bayesian integration. And you begin to act out the same behavior as you did in the past, therefore reaffirming the belief system. Our belief systems are our ideology or set of principles that help us make sense of our daily reality. What you experience in your day-to-day life triggers a belief system inside of you. Sitting in your car at a red light might remind you of how you're always running late. This reminder causes you to reaffirm the belief that you're perpetually tardy, and so when the opportunity to be on time presents itself in the future, like leaving 10 minutes early to avoid traffic or getting ready 10 minutes early to avoid yourself, you're likely not even going to see it because you're calibrated to its opposite. You know yourself as the person who is always late. Being on time and the actions that it takes to be punctual just aren't actually a part of your perception. This means that you're not calibrated to being on time, and that's because it's not in alignment with your current belief systems. Thankfully though, through neuroplasticity, we are constantly shaping and reshaping our brains based off of every experience we have. When you're calibrated towards the things that you want, your actions start to reflect that. This keeps you choosing the path towards your desires. But through this process, what you're really doing is beating down a new neural pathway in your brain. This means that when you take actions that align with your success, your brain will prompt you to take similar actions in the future. When you add a primer, like a vision board, you're changing the narrative and your feedback loops, which is rewiring your brain. Now, of course, you have to actually use the vision board, not just look at it and argue for your limitations. When you create your own vision board, you put your power into it. And this means that you have to believe in your vision and intention as hard as Peter Pan and the Lost Boys believed in Tinkerbell to keep her and her magic alive. Repeatedly seeing things and identifying them as a part of your life tricks the ego into coming along for the ride. The more you believe in an aspect of your identity, the more likely you are to act in alignment with it. So when you see your vision board, when you focus upon it, you have to get into the feeling of what it feels like to have already achieved your desires. Tapping into emotion helps it become real for you in the moment, which convinces the brain that it's already happening. This gets your ego on board, and therefore it's not putting up any resistance in the future when you try to go after these things that align with what you're trying to do. This is how you become a vibration that matches your desire, and that's how Law of Attraction delivers things to you. Similar frequencies vibrate on the same wavelength. What all of this means really is that in the future, when opportunities present themselves, you're going to be much more inclined to take the path that leads you towards your goal. Even if you don't subscribe to the Law of Attraction theory, I'm sure you can see the ways in which retraining your brain can help you with any of your goals. By staying mindful of Bayesian integration and keeping your desires at the forefront of your mind, you can make informed decisions about your life. And you can find peace in knowing that you're headed in the right direction. You can manipulate this process to be used in any area of your life. Using a vision board is just one of the simple ways to integrate a program of your choosing rather than allowing your brain and the world to decide for you. But that's all I have for this one. Thank you so much for joining me, and make sure to like and subscribe so that I can help you keep your third eye in the sky. Stay blessed.